My dear Patterns of Possibility listeners, I want to let you know that I really do appreciate you listening to this podcast. Your listenership means a lot to me. And this podcast is my sincere gift to you. And maybe you'd like to take action on reciprocating this gift. If you would, I'll mention a few things that are pretty helpful to me in the creation of this podcast. One thing that you could do is rate and review this podcast on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Make sure to give it 5 stars. And if you're listening on YouTube, please like and subscribe. It helps a lot. Also, another thing that you can do to support my efforts is to sign up at my email list at Patterns of Possibility. When you sign up, you'll receive actionable steps to making meaningful connections. We talk about everything from people pleasing to ghosting, socializing do's and don'ts, compliments, one-sided friendships, and everything in between. So if you'd like support on making more meaningful connections with your friends and family or businesses and coworkers, sign up. Another thing that you could do is follow me on social media. I'm looking at TikTok in particular because I'm there all of the time. I'm on the road to reach 10,000 followers so that I can live stream some of my workshops. It'd be really helpful, and it would help me bring these opportunities to you for free. The last thing that I can recommend that you do is if you like this podcast and you know of someone who might enjoy it, please share it with that person. Share it with a friend. It really does go a long way. With that said, once again, your listenership means a whole lot to me. Thank you so much for your support. Hey, what's going on? My name's Coach Lee Hopkins. My pronouns are he, him, his, and you're listening to the Patterns of Possibility podcast. This is a podcast dedicated to helping you replace harmful patterns with new possibilities. In each episode, we'll explore topics that inspire you to be yourself, live your truth, and make lasting connections. In this episode, we're going to talk about the number one way to find connections. Okay. When I even say that, it's like meant to be salacious and tantalizing, but people hate this. You really, really hate this. But the number one way to find meaningful connections is to spend time alone. Counterintuitive, I know, but I'm going to explain it to you here and now. Are you ready? Let's go. If you're new here today, I'm so happy that you've decided to choose this episode as your very first episode because it's a really great place to start out with understanding this social connections thing. It's very well known that, well, when I talk about this, I give so many presentations and I talk about how this is step one of making meaningful connections with other people. I quite often talk about breaking out the cycle of loneliness. The cycle of loneliness is you do a bunch of things around and around and around. You go around and around and around, and you create these relationships with people who don't understand, appreciate you, and then you blow up their relationships, and then you try to create those relationships again, and you blow them up again because you're not getting what you need out of the relationship. And in order to stop that cycle of loneliness, that frustration, that madness that comes along with it, you really need to spend time alone. Now, you may have heard this, and this is why I talk about it. Just a few weeks ago, I had this Love Yourself First conference, a 3-day conference about this fact of spending time alone, loving yourself first. You may have heard things like that, where you need to work on yourself, you need to be a better person and stuff like that. And when I hear those words, and maybe when you hear those words too, they're just thrown out as something to do, air quotes all around, to do, and there's no actionable steps about it. So when you're working on yourself, what does that really mean? When you try, what does that really mean? You try to be a better person, you try to change. What does that really mean? When you spend time alone, what are you doing? What are you doing? Well, you're probably not doing the thing that I'm going to suggest to you. And the spending time alone is certainly what we need to do in order to make friends, in order to attract the right people. The idea of loving yourself first, the idea of doing the work, the idea of working on yourself, all those things are rooted in this understanding of yourself. The understanding of self is where we are trying to get to when we spend time alone. We can't do that when we're interacting with other people. Everybody else is a distraction. You feel lonely, so you want to cling on to somebody who plays video games when you'd rather be playing board games. And instead of being alone and doing something that's really fun and fulfilling to you, you're going to hang out with this person who's playing video games and try to get them to change and play board games with you. Stuff like that is what causes us to be disconnected from ourselves and be disconnected from others. Listen, this is a benign. It's a benign dynamic. It's not really. It looks like a benign dynamic. But if you want to change somebody, you're essentially entering a toxic relationship. So to avoid doing that, because you're gonna go around in a cycle of loneliness, and you're going to be frustrated because you're not getting your needs met from this person. You're gonna blow up the relationship, but then you're really like, oh man, I don't want to be alone. And you go back to the same kind of person who does the same kind of things, who are not interested in the things that you're doing. And right here, we want to just pause. Right there, pause, stop, breathe. What's going on with you? What are your needs, your hopes, your desires, your wishes? What's fun and interesting and exciting to you? Do you know those things? Do you know what joy feels like? Do you know what situations feel joyful to you? What are your hobbies? What are the things that you like to do for fun, that are exciting, that you're drawn to, that you don't feel obligated to do? When you're spending time by yourself, you're spending time learning those things about you. And the reason why this is so important is because it is helping you build your own sense of self, your own understanding of who you are and what your desires are, so that you're not looking out for other people. When you understand this about yourself, you're not trying to fit in. You're not going to go out there and try to fit in with other people and be a part of a crowd. You are just going to want to do things that feel good to you. It's not for the show or the sake of other people looking at you and gazing upon you with amazement. It's not for that. It's only because it feels good to you. When people go out there, and you've experienced this, I'm sure you've seen people out there in the world who just do things that feel good to them. We are amazed by those people. We're attracted to those people. We're fascinated with those people. We want to talk to those people. You can be the same. You can be that person. You can be that person. And the thing is that you're not even trying to do that. You're out there doing things for your own merriment and excitement. So spending time by yourself is the key to being able to do this stuff. Discovering more about what you like and what you don't like. Sitting in meditation, journaling, reflecting on the experiences that you have. And so, one of the things that I love to do here is to give you some actionable steps. And what I'm going to recommend that you do is try something new and not think about the people that are there. It's nice to meet people. If you're going out to meetups and stuff, great, fantastic. Go to meetups, but don't go with the expressed intention of trying to talk to people. I know meetups are for that. Maybe take a class instead, but go to places that you want to try. You want to learn more about yourself and how you feel about having that experience. That is the key. And what you're going to do with this newfound awareness of you is you're going to go to places where people are doing the things that you already enjoy. And you're going to go to these places and do the thing that you already enjoy with the same gusto and excitement as if nobody else was watching. It's going to be easy for people to be attracted to you. That's how you make friends. That's how you connect with people. You do things that feel good to you. You bring that positive vibe, that energy into the space, and you light it up. So, step 1. Learn more about you. Understand what feels good, fun, and exciting, and real to you. And then go share that with other people. by just being yourself. I'll be right back with the answer Reddit question. Did you miss the Love Yourself First conference that happened 2 weeks ago? We missed you too, but that's okay. We're definitely going to have this again next year for sure. But if you can't wait until then, we have recordings that are available on my website. Just go ahead and check out patternsofpossibility.com. Click that tab that says Love Yourself First Conference and go check out those replays. You'll find details about being a highly sensitive or highly sensory person. You'll hear from a friendship consultant who actually gave actionable steps to make meaningful connections in the workplace. How do you navigate friendships and connections in the workplace? And then we also had stories, and I even gave a special presentation that you won't see anywhere else. Just go to patternsofpossibility.com, click the link that says Love Yourself First Conference, and check out those replays. You will be glad that you did. All right, now it's time for the Reddit friendship advice question. If you have a friendship advice question that you think I should answer, tag me in it on Reddit. My handle is Brilliant and Resilient. That's Brilliant, the letter N, Resilient. Male friendship dynamic. Am I just doing stuff alone, or am I feeling lonely? I'm in school. I have lots of friends, buddies, or pals. I don't know how to label them. We always hang out with each other when we meet up in school, but we don't really link up outside of school. It's partly because we're busy with our studies. Therefore, most of the time, I just spend time at home, alone. No texts, nothing. Maybe a dude will send me an Insta reel or TikTok, but that's just about it. But the thing is, I don't feel like they should be labeled as friends. I don't have any deep conversations with them. I don't share any personal stuff. All I talk about is schoolwork, funny stuff, and other shit. I've never had a close friend where I'm comfortable sharing anything with. You know, someone willing to sit down and address my feelings, listen to me venting, and so forth. I sit next to this one dude at school, and we honestly vibe with each other. We talk all the time, but we hardly do or talk about anything outside of the school setting. My friends like to talk trash. Sometimes it bothers me a little bit, but I guess it's just that they're saying those things jokingly. At least they're not talking shit about me behind my back. I see people with lots of friends, and they text, they talk, and so forth, and it does actually make me feel jealous. Maybe this is a sign for me to improve myself, which I'm currently working on. But this actually just bothers me so much. Is this normal for male friendships? Dear Redditor, I want to share with you that I'm very, very excited to read this. I was very excited to read this because you've come to this realization that you got a bunch of ain't shit friends. Well, I didn't want to say that. I mean, I said it like that, but I said it like that, okay? But essentially, you're doing this thing that I tell people to do is, be careful with those labels. Be careful of how you view people and what label you give them. Like, it's easiest to point out is romantic relationships in which you're going on dates with somebody and you've been seeing them for a month and you believe that you are together. You believe that you're an item, but it's never discussed, and you put that label on them and they're like, oh, this isn't it. This isn't what I believe these kind of relationships are. This is not what I believe the close connection is that is a relationship. What we're doing, and we're just talking, we're just having fun together. And you're crushed because they don't meet your expectations. And then this is what I want to say about having friends, this friend thing. So I like to tell people to stop labeling others, and this is what I've done in my life. I just don't label people as friends if they're not people that I can talk to about how I feel about things. They just don't get that label. They're associates at best. So you're like pals, buddies, whatever, something. You're not even sure how to label them. Of course, because your idea of what a friendship is, they're not meeting these expectations. It sounds like you want people to talk to you about your deep thoughts and feelings and stuff like that, and it's just not happening. And I imagine, so you're talking about male friendships in particular, and I imagine that men try really hard or not socialized to talk about those things, those feelings. They try really hard to cover it up. They're gonna razz you. They're gonna say things that might hurt your feelings and say it's a joke, or they're going to talk shit or whatever, and they're not going to talk about the deep important things. And that's lacking. That's lacking in your friendship. So I would say this is something that happens quite often. You don't have to normalize it. Let's just say it's something that happens quite often. And it's a phenomenon that we definitely recognize, and you recognize is happening here. If you normalize it, if you say it's normal, then I have this idea that you might say, well, shrug your shoulders. Well, this is what it is. And it sounds to me that you have a yearning for it to be much more with other people. I don't know how old you are, but you say it's school, and I'm not quite sure what kind of school it is. It might be something that you're older teenager, or maybe you're a early 20s person in college or something like that because of your studies. But you have the opportunity to change it, to change this phenomenon, and it's actually just taking advantage of the fact that you're spending so much time alone. It doesn't feel good because you see other people doing the stuff that you want to do, and they're keying it up. They're having a good time. They're inviting people to hang out after school and texting each other and stuff like that. And you're not doing that, and you want to be a part of that. You want your friendships to look like that. And when you look around, it's just not happening. It's just not happening. So you're alone. The power of being alone in this situation is understanding more about what it is that you do want. It seems like you're on the journey to discover that yourself. But what do you want to talk about? What do you want to talk about? What's fun, interesting, and exciting to you spending that time alone? And if you're in the house by yourself, then hopefully you've discovered some of those things. And what we want to do now that we've discovered these things is not even look to these people for friendships. Like, it didn't seem like they're interested, but you can try to talk about those deep, important things and see how they respond. That is one way to open up your friendship and see where that goes, or your connection, and see if it can develop to a deeper friendship. That's one way to do it. The other thing that I'd recommend that you do is not look at them to hold that kind of space for you, because it seems like they may not be able to. And go do that thing that's fun, exciting, and interesting to you, or go discover more of those things. Do it alone. Do it alone. I know it irks you a bit to watch other people have fun and be excited about talking to others, looking forward to spending time with each other. But it's not happening with these people that are your pals or your buddies right now. You got to look outside of them, doing something that's fun and interesting and exciting to you. So while you're spending your time alone, you didn't mention or say anything what you do with your time alone, but I want you to be very conscious of what it is, what's exciting, what do you like to do. If you like putting puzzles together, fantastic. Do the puzzles. Go to a board game meetup or go to a puzzle meetup or something like that. Or you can go based on what you want to know, what you want to do, what you think is fun, and go out and do that thing that you think is fun and go try it. And here's the key. You want to really, really, really focus on how you feel about having that experience, not about trying to connect and meet new people, because the thing that you do is going to be that shared experience that you share with other people. What I mean to say is that if you go out to play board games and you don't know how you feel about board games, and they invite you to go play board games again because they met you there and maybe you didn't like it as much, or you're not quite sure, are you going to be a little hesitant to go meet them to play a thing that you weren't quite sure about? You might. What are you going to talk about when you're there? You weren't paying attention to the board game thing. You weren't paying attention to what's going to actually draw you there in the first place. So the key is to always focus on how you feel about your experiences. And then what you do when you meet new people is you share how you feel about those experiences with them. And that makes the connection. That's what makes the real connection with other people. But it only happens if you spend time by yourself. Redditor, thank you so much for asking your question. I know that you didn't ask me to answer it, but I did, and I hope that it helps. Best of luck to you. Take care. My name is Coach Lee Hopkins, and you have been listening to the Patterns of Possibility podcast. You can find me at patternsofpossibility.com and on all social media at Patterns of Possibility. And as always, I want to encourage you to be yourself, live your truth, and there you'll make lasting friendships.